Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody today? I hope you're having a great evening. It's Thursday here in Tokyo, and welcome to today's live English lesson. It's a beautiful day here in Tokyo. It's actually kind of hot here today, but I'm very excited that I'm back on my schedule. Sorry, I'm just looking at my other computer here, trying to get everything organized for you. My other camera is not working, so I'm using the front camera. Hopefully the quality is not that bad. Today we will be doing a lesson on whenever and until. As you can see in the title there, whenever and until. It is probably like an intermediate level grammar. These are two great phrases because it really helps you speak much longer. So your fluency will definitely improve if you use both of these words. Now, as always, I put the lesson onto the screen. So you're going to see me do that right now. And remember, whenever I put a lesson on the screen, if you want a copy of this, all you have to do is ask, and I can send that lesson to you. As I said, we're going to be doing whenever and until today. Last time we did a lesson, we were doing it. It was as soon as, and yeah, that was it. As soon as and once we were doing that lesson. So today we're going to be using whenever. During that lesson, though, I didn't go over the slang, the idiom here. So we'll do that today. I left the same idiom. And it's pull some strings. Pull some strings. Before we go over that, I just got to make sure that my lesson is public. Yes, it is public. Okay, perfect. So pull some strings. It's a great idiom. And if we look at the example sentence says, my father pulled some strings for me to get a job at his company. My father pulled some strings for me to get a job at his company. So basically what this means, if you pull some strings, that means you're going to use some connections. You're going to use your power to get something done or to get something. So I want to work at my father's company. So my father has some power at the company. So he pulled some strings. So that means he used his connections, used his power, so I could work there. It's almost like kind of like a puppeteer, you know, the old style puppet where you have the strings and you're kind of moving the puppet. So you're maneuvering the puppet. So here you're maneuvering things so that you can get something. All right, so pull some strings. It's a great idiom. Make sure you try to remember that. All right, so we have a lot of exercises we're going to be doing today. And I'm just making this lesson a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. And I think I actually got the wrong... That's right. I've got the wrong lesson here on here. So I'm going to kind of change this for you. Just bear with me. So whenever and until. Let me just get the right lesson onto the screen. One second, just bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. Okay, it should be coming up fairly soon here. I had the wrong lesson on the screen, but I'll get the right lesson up here. Olha, hi, how are you today? How are things over there? How are things for you? How's your day? I'm just trying to get the right lesson onto the screen right now. So I apologize for that. What did you do? Or I guess it's morning there for you. So your day is just starting, I think. Or no, you're 6 hours behind me. So how was your day today? All right, we're going to go over the grammar first for today's lesson. So I'm going to put that onto the screen right now so you can see it. I'm doing okay, Ola. I'm doing okay. It was really hot today. I just got home probably like 20 minutes ago. But yeah, it was a pretty good day. But really hot. It's starting to get humid here in Tokyo. Okay, so let's go over the grammar today. The grammar we're going to use today here is whenever, and then below whenever we can see until, or we can say the word till, which has the same meaning. So let's look at this first one here, whenever. Now, basically, whenever means every time. Every time. Okay, so every time when something happens, we use whenever. You'll have a little lesson with children today. Nice, nice. How old will they be? You know, I'm going to be doing a lesson with children on Saturday, and they're going to be how old? I think they're going to be 4 or 5 years old. So really small. So yeah, so whenever, it means every time when. Oh, 14 and 16. Okay, that's sometimes a good age, sometimes a complicated age. Hopefully they listen and they follow what you're trying to say. Sometimes the younger ones are a little bit easier. I just did a lesson with 14-year-olds just now, just before I came home. But it was basketball and English. So if we look at the example sentences on the screen right here, it says, I use my umbrella whenever it rains. So that means every time when it rains, I use my umbrella. All right. So it's always means every time. So next, number 2, I turn my cell phone to vibrate whenever I get on the train. So every time when I get on the train, I turn my phone to vibrate. And that's really important here in Tokyo. They don't like a lot of noise on their trains. All right, let's look next. We've got until. Until is the next one we're going to study today. So until is to that time, but not any longer. So there is a finite point where we will end. And if you look at the word till here, this is really common in speaking. So when I'm speaking, I rarely say until. I'll always say till. All right, so it means until a certain point, but not after that point. So if we look at the example sentences, it says, I stayed at the office until I finished my project. All right, so I didn't stay after I finished my project. Finishing the project was the end point. Then I will wait for you till you finish. So in spoken English, we can say till. So the time you finish, that's as long as I will wait. I will not wait longer than that. All right. So one is going to be, we're saying every time something happens. And the other one is the end point. Okay. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to practice some exercises. We're going to be practicing some exercises. The first exercise here, you will choose whether you use until or whether you use whenever. All right, so let's put the lesson back onto the screen. All right, and so today we got here, it says fill in the blanks. I can't leave the house. And right here, all you're going to choose is, will you put the word whenever or will you put until? Okay, so these are the two words you can choose between, whenever or until. All right, so I can't leave the house, then my parents come back. So until. I can't leave the house until my parents come back. Perfect. Perfect. All right, let's make this bigger so it's easier to see. So yes, the answer here is going to be until. I can't leave the house until my parents come back. All right, what about number 2? Please turn off the lights. Something you leave the room. Please turn off the lights. Something you leave the room. Is it whenever or is it until? For me, this one here, it's probably kind of like every time. Every time I leave the room, I'll turn off the lights. All right, so for me, number 2, please turn off the lights whenever you leave the room. That means every time you leave the room. So you're leaving this room, you're going to a different room, that turn the lights off. All right. So the first page of these exercises, we're going to try to stay simple. We're just going to be choosing between until and whenever. And halfway through, I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult. So at the halfway point, you will still choose until or whenever, but you also have to choose a verb to complete the sentence. So we'll make it a little bit more difficult. But for right now, just choose until or whenever. And just a quick review, until means we're going to do something to a certain point, but not after that. And then whenever means every time. Every time something happens, you're going to do something. All right, so number 3, we'll keep practicing whenever or until we get it right. We'll keep practicing whenever we get it right. We'll keep practicing till we get it right. And I believe, well, was this your answer for number 3? If it's for number 3, you're right. We'll keep practicing till we get it right. So that means that when you, there you go, until. So that means when you get it right, you will no longer practice it. But we'll continue to practice until that point. All right, number 4. And I'll put the answer here, until. She always feels nervous. She has to give a speech. So are we going to use whenever or until? Now, and this one it's a kind of interesting, actually, because Technically, grammatically, both answers could be right. But if we're trying to think the best answer for this is whenever. She always feels nervous whenever she has to give a speech. She always feels nervous whenever she has to give a speech. All right. Now, it's possible you could put until. Grammatically, that's correct. But if you use until, the meaning is different. All right. So let's just look at until right now. If I use this, it means she always feels nervous. Always. That means every day, every second, every minute, every hour, she feels nervous. Until she has to give a speech. When she gives a speech, she is no longer nervous. All right. So grammatically, that's fine, but it is strange because usually you get nervous because you have to give a speech. So every time she gives a speech, she becomes nervous. She feels nervous. So I think whenever is the correct answer. All right, let's look at number 5. You can borrow my car. Something, yours is fixed. You can borrow my car. Something, yours is fixed. So again, we're trying to figure out the best answer, the one that makes the most sense. Sometimes grammatically, you could use both, but it will have a bit of a strange meaning. All right, so Ola, perfect. You can borrow my car until yours is fixed. So as soon as yours is fixed, you can no longer borrow my car. So the fixed is the deadline. It's the end point. Perfect. All right, we're going to go 2 more where there'll be 6 and 7 is just choosing whenever or until. And then from 8, it becomes more difficult. All right, so I'm going to put the answer up for number 5. Number 6, he won't eat dinner. And then he finishes his homework. He won't eat dinner. He finishes his homework. Now, again, grammatically, they're both fine, but one doesn't have really a normal meaning. It's kind of illogical. So in this one here, he won't eat dinner until he finishes homework. So finishes the homework, then after that point, he'll eat dinner. Whenever works grammatically, but he won't eat dinner whenever he finishes homework. That means every time he finishes his homework, he never eats dinner. And great point, Ola. Yes. Whenever we're using whenever, we're going to be using the present tense. Okay. We could use future as well, but generally you're right. We're going to be using present tense. This great. Number 7, last easy one. They won't start the meeting. right? So the won't start the meeting is going to continue to a certain point. That certain point is everyone arriving. So once everyone arrives, then we can start the meeting. All right, so in this one here, again, until would be your best choice. We could rearrange this if it's a routine. If it's a routine, we could make a sentence where we use whenever. We always start the meeting whenever everyone arrives. All right, so here it's a routine. So we could make a routine and use whenever, but for number 7, the correct answer will be until. Okay, so from number 8 now, I've got 2 blank spots. Two blank spots. One here and one there. Of course, one of them you must put whenever or until. The other one, please choose a verb or a word that would complete the sentence. So I've got let's, and I've got playing. It gets too dark. Let's playing. It gets too dark. What do you guys think your answer is for this? Playing, this ing is very important. It's a key hint for this sentence. It will allow you to choose this word. And I'm sorry if it's noisy today. I've got my window open and it's really hot. So I've got the window open and the road in front of my house is very busy. So number 8, what I would choose here is, it gets too dark. It gets too dark is kind of like the cutoff point. After it's dark, I'm not going to play, right? I think it's probably too dangerous. It's not fun. You can't see anything. So I would say that right here, we're going to be using until. Now, that just leaves, what do we put here? What do we put here? What verb do we put here? Now, I've got ing. So a lot of times when you have ing, we could use the be verb. We could use go as well. But in this situation, the be verb and go verb is actually not going to work. It's not going to work in this one. So what I want you to say, what I'm trying to say in this sentence is, I'm going to continue to play. I'm going to continue to play. And then the point is until it's too dark. So once it's too dark, I will no longer play. But I'm going to continue to play until it becomes dark. So what verb can we say that means continue? If I said continue, I'm going to use continue to plus verb. Right? So I could say, let's continue to play. But if you notice, we've got ing, playing. So I can't use continue. That does not work. But I want the same meaning as continue. So what do you think that verb is that means to continue? So it's the verb that we're going to use always means that it's something is going to continue. So like you got further. Let's again, if you put further, then we can't use ing. We can't use ing. So for me, what I would choose here is if something is going to continue, right? We're going to continue doing something and we're using ing, it's going to be keep. Let's keep playing. Let's keep studying. Let's keep walking. Let's keep thinking. So keep and ing. I want you to remember that. Keep and ing. It goes together and it means to continue. So keep plus a verb, which is going to be in the ing. Okay, so this means to continue. I'm just making a banner so everybody can see it. Keep plus verb ing. All right, so smile, very good. You answered keep, very good. All right, what about number 9 now? Number 9. Number 9 says, I won't something to relax, something I finished this project. All right, so I won't something to relax, something I finished this project. So remember the first thing you have to do is there's 2 blank spaces. One of the blank spaces you have to choose whenever or until. So I won't. So we got a will verb in here, and we've got a third verb to relax. And I finish this project. So again, here we've got kind of like the deadline. We've got an end point. The end point is the finishing of the project. So in this area, in this space here, we're going to use the word until. So next, we need to figure out what verb goes here. All right, what verb is going to go there? All right, so I won't something to relax until I finish this project. And Ola, I won't be able to relax. That is perfect. Perfect, perfect. So I won't be able to relax until I finish this project. I won't be able to relax until I finish the project. Perfect. Okay, number 10. We're not something to leave, something you apologize. We're not something to leave, something you apologize. So will we use whenever? Will we use until? And then what's the verb we're going to put between not and to leave? So for me, I'm going to look at this end point here. I think that until is going to be the right choice again. So we've got, we are not allow you to leave. That's close. That's close. I like that idea. I think if we use the word allow, Ola, we're gonna say we won't allow you to leave. We won't allow you to leave. Okay, so here we got the be verb. We are not. All right, so whenever we have a be verb, right here we've got the be verb. We have to think about what is the helping verb that we could use here. And a lot of times with the be verb, it can be passive, so it's past tense, or it could be present continuous, which is ing. And since most of these sentences are going to be in the present tense, think of an ing verb. So, and I want you to think that the other person must apologize. The other person must apologize. We are not something to leave. So what I would say here, we are not going to leave. We're not going to leave until you apologize. That means I want you to apologize and I will stay here. I'll stay here. And then when you apologize, I will no longer stay. All right. So I'm going to wait for you to apologize. All right. So smile, going good. All right. Perfect. Let's look at number 11. We have a few more, and then we're going to get into the area where you make sentences. What about number 11? He promised to... What would we do here? So we need a verb. We need something here, verb here, and whenever or until here. All right, so he promised to... So for me here, I would probably, in this one, look, if we look at the second blank spot, he promised to something me, and then he arrives at the airport. So this is probably going to be something where it's going to happen every time. Every time. Okay, so this is every time when. Now, he promised to... whenever he arrives at the airport. Oh, perfect. Yeah, for the second part, you are right. It is whenever. Perfect. Now, first part, he promised to something me whenever he arrives at the airport. Let's just imagine that you will be the one who goes to the airport to pick him up, or to pick him up, but you don't know when. So maybe there's a telephone is involved. Maybe there is a pickup involved. There's a few possible answers here. Okay, so you got see off, yeah? If you see someone off, that's usually when they're leaving. So I'll see you off at the airport. It means I will go to the airport with you to say goodbye. But in this one, he's arriving. So for me, one of the answers I could say here, he promised to call me whenever he arrives at the airport. Okay. Another one would be, and I see that you've got the answer, ride. Ola, you put ride. I think that's the right idea, but I would change the verb to get. He promised to get me whenever he arrives at the airport. Okay. So ride, yeah, we'd say get or drive or pick me up. Okay, so get me has the same meaning as pick me up. Smile, we've got call, perfect. Okay, let's do 2 more and then we'll move to the next section. So number 12 says the movie won't something, everyone is seated. The movie won't something, everyone is seated. So right here, we need to think about, is it whenever, is it until? This looks like it's a kind of like a deadline, kind of a point where you will no longer do something. So I would choose until. And the movie won't for me, one of the easiest answers would just be the movie won't start. The movie won't start until everyone is seated. The movie won't begin until everyone is seated. And let's look at number 13 here. I'll keep something, I reach my goal. I keep something, I reach my goal. So again, I reach my goal. Usually if you reach a goal, that's going to be the end point. You're not going to continue to do something after. So remember, keep, as we learned before, means continue. And we learned before that if we do have keep, we're going to be using the ing verb. All right, so we know it must be ing, and then we have to choose whenever or until. This one, I will choose until. And over here, I'll keep working until I reach my goal. I'll keep trying hard until I reach my goal. All right, so Ola, perfect. I'll keep working until I reach my goal. Ola, applying is good. That's really good. I like it. We just need one more word with applying. So I'll keep applying myself until I reach my goal. So you always apply yourself. So I'll apply myself. You apply yourself. Good, really good verb. We just need to have that pronoun with it. Okay, so let's move to the next part of this. We've got some more sentences here. You can see there's 14, there's 15, 16, 17, 18. If you want to do these for homework, that's great. I suggest that. There's up to 20 here, right? So I'll move slowly here. That way you can see 14. Just pause it when you're going to do your homework. All right, so 15, 16, 17 are all on the screen now. And then you remember, you can always pause if you want to do these for homework. But what we're going to do next is we're going to be doing or making sentences. We're going to be making sentences. And I'm going to alternate between until and whenever. I'll alternate between until and whenever. So first one here, I want you to use until. We've got the word finish and we've got the word homework. These two are going to be your hints, your cues, your theme. You don't have to use these words, but this is the idea of your sentence. And of course, every sentence must have the word until. Now, for me, let's just make an example sentence. Maybe I can say, my mom said I can't go out until I finish my homework. All right, so my mom said I can't go out until I finish my homework. That is an example sentence for number one. Okay, so and we got some, one sec, I'm gonna back up here. Smile, you put the word start. So if we just back up to the last answer, I'll keep. Again, remember we need ing, so I think your second answer is better. I'll keep trying until I reach my goal. Perfect. Okay, I'll keep trying. That's good. Okay. Sorry, let's go back here. I always want to make sure that I try to answer everybody's questions and answers here. So number one, I finished. My mom said I can't go out until I finish my homework. Now we're going to do probably three. We'll do 2, 3, 4, and then we'll do whenever sentences, and then we'll come back. So number 2 says arrive and train. Arrive and train. Please use those ideas. And let's use until. Remember, this is only until. So what I'll do is I'll actually change my banner. So remember, we're only using until for these sentences. So arrive and train. Arrive and train. Now, you can use anything you want, any type of sentence you want. You don't have to use the words arrive. You don't have to use the words train. This is just your idea. And if you want maybe a hint, how would I start my sentence? I'm actually going to start my sentence with let's. That would be how I start my sentence. Let's. Ola, you got here, the train won't wait until everyone arrives. Yeah, that's great. The train won't wait until everyone arrives. That's true. Trains are on a schedule. Whether you come or you don't come, you arrive or you don't arrive, the trains will not wait. They will leave. Very good. I like it. I like that sentence. My sentence, as you can see, I'm starting it with let's. So I'm going to use, Ola, I'm going to use your wait idea. I'm going to use your wait idea. but I'm going to switch it a little bit. I would say let's wait until the train arrives. Let's wait until the train arrives. All right, so good. I like your sentence as well. The train won't wait until everyone arrives. Okay, so next, let's look at number. Again, we're doing 3 and 4 next, and then we'll move and make sentences with whenever. We've got serve and food. Serve and food. And remember, you have to make a sentence using until. Serve and food. Good evening, Flower. How are you today? For me, that I probably with this sentence, that's how I'd begin my sentence. We can't. And then, of course, I'd continue it. And I'm going to be using, I will use the word food. I will use the word serve. So for me, maybe I'm going to change this. Maybe I'm going to put shouldn't. We shouldn't start eating until everyone is served. We shouldn't start eating until everyone is served. Okay, so what this means is, and I'm sure everybody here, everybody's watching, whether live or on the replay, we've all been to restaurants, right? We've all been to restaurants, and we're sitting in the restaurant with friends or family, and the waiter or waitress sometimes brings a few people their food. So maybe I've got my food, and the person next to me has their food, but still a few people don't have their food. So my sentence is saying that I shouldn't start eating until everyone is served. Everyone receives their food. That's usually how I do things. But everyone's different. If you're hungry, maybe you just start eating. Hola, there was always good serves until last time when food wasn't delicious. Okay, so I like your idea. Let's just clean it up a little bit. You could say, I liked everything that was served. Okay, I liked everything that was served. I liked all of the food that was served. Okay, so if you want to remove everything, you could put all of the food. I liked all the food that was served until the last time. And we could just end it there. Because if you just say until the last time, that means we understand you didn't like it. All right, so we understand you didn't like it. And if you want to say a different way, the food that was served was always good until last time. The food that was served was always good until last time. All right, so let's put that into the chat box. Okay, and let's do number 4. We've got complete project. And then after number 4, we will move to until. So what would your answer be here? So we're going to be using, you have a project, you have to complete it. What would be the food? All right, Ola, see you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a good day, Ola. Good luck with your class. So for me, complete and project, what I would probably do here is I'll be busy until I complete the project. Okay. Now, if you don't want to use the word complete, we could change it. We could say, I'll be busy until I'm done my project. I think probably I'm done my project is a little bit more natural. Okay, now what we're going to do now is we're going to move down, and we're going to move down to whenever. All right, so as you can see, we've got a lot more with until, but let's look at whenever now. And the first one is we've got watch and we've got movie. And we can say anything, but we have to use the word whenever. All right, so for example, maybe my sentence for this, maybe it's going to be, I always watch comedies whenever I'm feeling down. I always watch comedies whenever I'm feeling down. All right, so this means that every time I feel sad, every time I feel down, I watch comedies. All right, so that one I did for you. Let's look at number 12. We got the word visit. We've got grandparents. And we have to make a sentence using both of these things, visit and grandparents. And again, we're not going to be using until here. So let's change that banner. You're going to be using whenever. So for me, my sentence for this, visit and grandparents, is I try to visit my grandparents whenever I can. I try to visit my grandparents whenever I can. That just means whenever I have time, whenever it's possible, I try to visit my grandparents. That means every time that it's possible, every time I am able to do it, I try to visit my grandparents. Okay, so let's do a couple more here. Let's do 13, 14, 15, and then we will call it a lesson. There's a lot of other exercises here that we haven't covered. So I'll give you some extra homework as well if you'd like. But for now, let's look at number 13. We got feel and we've got hungry. So for me, my sentence would be feel hungry. Now, so far we've used whenever always in the middle of the sentence. So let's try changing it. Let's start putting it at the beginning of the sentence, because that's also possible. I can start it at the beginning. And the order just changes. So I'm going to put whenever, every time something happens, I do something. Whenever I feel peckish, I eat chips. Whenever I feel peckish, I eat chips. All right, so from this sentence, I think you might be able to understand what peckish means. Peckish means to be hungry. All right, to be hungry. Peckish equals hungry. So whenever I feel hungry, I eat chips. Chips means potato chips. If you're in the UK, chips would mean French fries. So it all depends where you are. If you're in the US or if you're in Canada, chips means potato chips. But in the UK, chips would be French fries. All right, so number 14. Let's look at number 14. Need and help. Need and help. All right, so for me, maybe my sentence here would be, I always call my family whenever I need help. Now, let's try to make some unique English here. Let's try to speak a little bit more like a native speaker. So I always call my family whenever I'm in a bind. Whenever I'm in a bind. All right, so here, in a bind is another idiom. It means that you are in a difficult situation. You are in trouble. All right, so in a bind, to be in a difficult situation. In a bind, to be in a difficult situation. So I always call my family whenever I'm in a bind. Perfect. Okay, and we're going to do one. We'll try to do one or two more here. We've got travel abroad. We'll go back to until as well. Maybe we'll do one more for until. But here, travel abroad, we're going to use until. All right, so Flower, you got a one here. You can count on me whenever you need help. No just help. Perfect. Great job, Flower. Nice. Paramesh, whenever my daughter needs help, I am definitely there. Nice, Paramesh. Yes. Yes. Me too. All right, what about travel abroad? Travel abroad. What could we say here and using whenever? Travel abroad. This is probably one of the more difficult ones, travel abroad. For me, maybe my sentence here would be, I try to travel abroad whenever I can afford it. I try to travel abroad whenever I can afford it. So that means every time I can afford it, I will travel abroad, or I try to travel abroad. Okay. And if you have another sentence, you can put it on there. Anybody watching on the replay as well, definitely you can put all your sentences in the comment section. I will check it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot. Let's go back. Let's do until. Let's do number 5 for until. Let's do number 5. Open and door, open and door. This one here is going to be the last one for today. Let's go back and kind of review until. What would be your answer for this? Open and door. And again, you don't have to use these words. It's just your idea. Like, for example, myself, I'm not going to use these words. I would say you should never answer the door until you know who it is. You should never answer the door until you know who it is. That means you shouldn't just open the door until you know the person. Until you know who the person is. Okay, so we've been going for about an hour now. We'll probably call it a lesson today. That if there are other, if you can see right now on the screen, we've got 6 and 7, solve and puzzle, and we've got pay and bill. So if you'd like to do that for homework, you could. For 6 and 7, please use until. And if you want to practice whenever as well, then you could do 16 and 17, which is play piano and go shopping. Now, I would recommend that try to be unique. You don't have to use these words, right? Try to expand your vocabulary. Use words that you usually don't use. So these are just your ideas. And 16 and 17, remember, is whenever. And if you want to do your homework, yeah, just leave it in the comment section and I will check it. So before I say goodbye, does anybody have any questions about today's lesson or about anything regarding English? If you do, just fire away in the comment section. In the meantime here, I will remove the lesson from the screen. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Hey, Coney, how are you? How's your day today, Coney? Your day is just starting. That's okay. Don't worry about it. No problem. Today we were studying whenever and until. Whenever and until. Doctors should not open operation door until they have an importance. Maybe what is importance? Are you saying patients? A patient? So doctors should not open. It's okay, very much, no problem, no problem. Yeah, your sentence, the first sentence you said was perfect. You're using whenever my daughter needs help, I'm definitely there. That was perfect. So my doctor should not open the operating room door until they are done the operation. Maybe that's what I would say. They should never open the operating room door until they are done. So, yeah, if it's patient, then it's maybe a little bit different. They shouldn't operate until they have a patient. That would be good. Good to hear, Coney. I'm glad you're doing well. Okay, so they didn't open the door until they had a patient. Okay, that would be okay. They shouldn't open the operating room door. Operating room door. Do you want to try another sentence, Paramesh, and I can check, see if that you make sure you understand? In the meantime, if anybody else has any questions or they want to try making a sentence, feel free to do so. Okay, I think I know what you're trying to say here now. So maybe here, Paramesh, they shouldn't open the operating room door until. So is it something important, right? Something that's maybe emergency that's outside, or something it needs their time or effort, like an emergency. I think in that situation, we're not going to use until. We would use unless. Unless. So doctors shouldn't open the operating room door unless there is an emergency. Unless there is an emergency. I won't go out, Coney, until I finish my homework. I won't go out until I finish my homework. Perfect. Perfect. You're very welcome, Smile. You're very, very welcome. You did a great job. You answered a lot of them perfectly. So well done. What if I just put the word here? And I know that some of you just joined, so I don't want to end without you guys having a little bit of practice. So let's say your keyword is puzzle. Puzzle. How would you make a sentence using puzzle? And I want you to make two sentences. One is using until, one is using whenever. Okay, your theme, your idea, your cue is puzzle. All right, so Paramesh, you're getting there. I won't stop. I would say I won't stop learning English until I become fluent. I won't stop learning English until I become fluent. Perfect. Now, how about puzzle? This is for both you, Coney, and for Paramesh. And Smile, if you want to try as well. Flower, if you're still there, you can try as well. Puzzle. That's your keyword Make a sentence using whenever, or make a sentence, and not where, or, and make a sentence using until. Whenever, until. 2 sentences. All right, so Coney, whenever my cousins come home, they take out my puzzle and play. Perfect. I like it. I like it. I like it. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with them taking out your puzzle and playing with it? Or do they make a mess? All right, so Coney, that was the first one. Now you have to make one using until. My sentence, I'm trying to figure out, oh, I can make a banner. My sentence for puzzle would be using whenever. It would be that. I always start with the border whenever I do a puzzle. I always start with the border whenever I do a puzzle. Okay. And Paramesh, you've got here, whenever I am the master in maths, I don't fulfill all puzzles. What do you mean master? What do you mean master in this sentence, Paramesh? And then maybe not fulfill all puzzles. Maybe I would say I don't solve all of the puzzles. I don't solve all of the puzzles. So the first part only, Paramesh, master in maths. Let me know what you mean by that. And flower, I'm always puzzled whenever I make sentences in English. Perfect. Perfect. See, you changed puzzle from the game to an adjective. Very good. So master of extreme knowledge. Okay. Does that mean that you are the teacher? Okay. I think I know what you're trying to say, Paramesh. Maybe if I'm wrong, please correct me, Paramesh. Maybe whenever I try to master math, I can't solve all of the questions. I'll put puzzles here. Maybe that, Paramesh. Whenever I try to master math, I can't solve all the puzzles. I hope that's what you're trying to mean. But yeah, so here master would mean the verb, which is excellent. Good job, Paramesh. Coney, the game won't finish till we solve all of the puzzles. Or the game won't finish till we solve the puzzle. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Yeah, I won't finish until I finish the puzzle. I'll keep I'll stay up all night until I finish the puzzle. But perfect, Connie. Both of those are perfect until we solve all the puzzles or we solve that puzzle. You're very welcome, Connie. I'm going to get this banner off. I don't want my lesson there. Okay, let's go one more. So you guys have some more practice here. Let's see. Okay, let's use this one. Let's do this one. All right, so I'm going to change the idea, and the new one is going to be the mall. The mall. So this can be the shopping mall we're talking about. Please make a sentence using until and whenever. Until and whenever. And let me see here. So Coney, and puzzle as a verb means confuse. Yes, you are absolutely correct. Puzzle as a verb means to be confused, to not understand something, to be mystified, to be at a loss. So his, I could say his attitude puzzles me. So it confuses me. Perfect. All right, so the shopping mall. Whenever and until. I'm going to make my sentence first. And I'm going to kind of use some... I'm gonna make a sentence how I would speak if I were out with my friends. Okay, this is gonna be my sentence using whenever. My sentence for whenever. I always hit up the food court whenever I go to the mall. I always hit up the food court whenever I go to the mall. Hit up means to go. To go. It's kind of a more casual way to say hit, or to mean go. You can hit, means to like that, to punch or to violently hit. It means to like that action, but hit can also mean to go. So I need to hit the ATM. I need to go to an ATM. I need to hit up something. It means I need to go there. Yeah, whenever I go back to Canada, I always hit up the food court. Whenever I go back to Canada, I always hit up the food court, because the food court in Canada is going to be very different than food courts here. So yeah, if I'm in Canada, if I'm in the US, I always hit up the food court, which means I go to the food court. All right, so you've got here, Paramesh, using the puzzled. I don't know how acquired it. Whenever I meet strangers, my mind would be puzzled. All right, so I don't know how. So acquired means to get something. You get something. I don't know how to acquire it. Whenever I meet strangers, my mind is puzzled. My mind is puzzled. So I don't know how to acquire it. Whenever I meet strangers, my mind is puzzled. Yeah, so Coney, yeah, hit. I'm not actually hitting the food cart, but it means to go. I use it a lot as a verb. So today, before I came home, I hit up the convenience store and got a coffee. Flower, I walked around the mall until all the shops closed. Perfect. Perfect. I walked around the mall until all the shops closed. That is perfect. All right. So I use whenever, you're using until. No. It's definitely very common in English. I use people use it in the US, people use it in Australia, Canada, but yeah, no, it's not only in Canada. Canada does have some unique phrases that it's only used in Canada, but that's not one. Here's a unique Canadian phrase for you. Not phrase, but vocabulary word. This word here, toque. Toque is a very Canadian word. Toque is a beanie, like a knit hat, like a beanie that you would wear in wintertime. We call that a toque. We don't call it a beanie. We don't call it a hat. It's definitely a Canadian word. But it's a good question. Good. There is a lot of differences between the different English speaking countries. And I notice it a lot between the British English and I would like the North American, Canadian, US. Canada and America is quite similar. They're very similar in English. Sometimes it's a little different, but most times it's the same. But the UK will have very unique English. And I think people in UK think our English is very unique. There are certain phrases that are completely different. You know, I live in Tokyo. We take the subway. We take the train. Subway, we would say in Canada or America, or even in Tokyo. But in the UK, they would say tube. Over here in Canada, America, we would say elevator. Over there, they say lift. So there are a lot of different vocabulary words. Okay, so yeah, it is. It is interesting. It's and the slang will be very different. The slang will be very, very different. So if you're, I've hung out with some British people before, like 4 or 5 British guys. They're all talking their native tongue, speaking a lot of slang, and 50% of the things I couldn't understand what they were saying because their slang was just so different from US and Canadian slang. All right. Any other sentences for the shopping mall? That was the last one. That was the last theme, the mall. All right, Coney, there's always good music whenever I go to the mall. Nice, nice. Not here. not in Tokyo. They don't really play music in the mall here. If they do play music, it's more kind of like elevator music. Okay, well, it's midnight now, so I have an early day tomorrow. Back to my school tomorrow for some lessons. So the next lesson, the next live will be Saturday morning. I know some of you probably can't join it. The time difference is going to be too difficult for you. But if you can, it'll be Saturday morning. You'll see it on my community site. I believe the start time will be 8:30 a.m. Japan Standard Time. And then I'll put a new schedule for next week's live lessons on my community site. Again, I'll probably upload that on Sunday, I believe. Next week is a public holiday. The whole week, it's a holiday here in Japan. So I'm going to try to stay on my schedule that I did this week, where it's Monday night and it's Thursday. But I'll definitely put the schedule on Sunday, so please check that out. Also, if you have specific times that you prefer, let me know. If you have a special lesson request, just let me know. I want to study this or I want to study that. I can definitely make that lesson. But tell me the time as well, whether it's this time is the best or later or earlier. Let me know what time suits you, and then I'll try to organize it. Next week, it's very flexible for me because it's a 1 week holiday here in Japan. All right, so I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know, and if you have any questions about today's lesson, anybody who's watching on the replay as well, make sure you ask any questions in the comment section and let me know what time and what lesson you want. So for you, like in 10 hours, so like in the morning. So my morning, your evening. Good night, Flower. Thank you. All right. So like in 10 hours from now. So we're like at 9-10 a.m. my time. And then it'll be, I think Saturday, that'll be my time. But I'll try to do some lessons in the morning next week because I'm off. I have a lot of time. This time is okay too. Okay, that's good to know, Coney. Thank you. All right, guys. Hopefully I'll see you on Saturday. If not, I hope to hear from you. Just let me know. I'll put the schedule up so everybody knows. No problem, Coney. No problem, Coney. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. Paramesh, thank you as well. I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you have a great weekend. And I will see you guys all soon. So thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys all later. See ya.